Some truths from Donnie's Truth Social page over the last 24 hours. Here, Trump is reposting from somebody else who says a 69-year-old grandmother with cancer was given more prison time for walking inside the U.S. Capitol. She was part of the insurrection, by the way, than Hunter Biden for sharing classified documents with foreign regimes and multi-million-dollar bribery schemes. That's a new one. Hunter Biden shared classified documents with foreign regimes? Seems like a little projection on the part of Der Muskführer. As far as million-dollar bribery schemes, how about asking people for $2 million for pardons, Donnie? We move on. Ron DeSanctimonious is really being punished in the polls. He is falling at a level rarely seen in American politics. Prior to getting my endorsement, his campaign was dead. He was a very unskilled politician. What I did for him was artificial inflation of his numbers. He is now proving to be unskilled yet again. Also, disloyalty has a price. We all know that anybody that's disloyal to the dear leader has to pay a price, but why would you give him an endorsement if he was an unskilled politician? Seems kind of odd. Here he says, I will immediately sign a new executive order to cut federal spending for any school pushing CRT, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our children. First of all, CRT is not taught anywhere below law school. Secondly, who gets to determine what transgender insanity is? Is that you and your fellow band of bigots? And lastly, you don't get to cut congressionally appropriated funds by executive order. That's not how any of this shit works, you fucking moron. Here he says he was the first president in 70 years who didn't start a war. Really? Because the guy right before you didn't start a war either. Nor did Clinton. Matter of fact, there's been a handful of presidents in the last 70 years that didn't start a war. But it doesn't matter, because whatever this fucking moron says, the imbeciles who support him will eat it up with a spoon. This is classic. Christians have been under siege under this administration. Never again will federal law enforcement be used to target religious believers. Americans of faith are not a threat to this country. Americans of faith are the soul of our country. Christians are not under siege. The perpetual fetish with being a victim when you're not, on the part of the Christians, is pathetic, to say the least. And then we have these from just a few minutes ago. So Fox News, which is down 37% in the ratings, doesn't cover my getting the Man of the Decade award because of my great policies in Michigan, or my keynote speech for faith and freedom in D.C., and then wants me to show up and get them ratings for their presidential debate, where I'm leading the field by 40 points. All they do is promote against all hope Ron DeSanctimonious, and he's dropping like a rock. Sorry, Fox News, life doesn't work that way. Are we seeing the beginning of Donald Trump saying he's not going to be in debates? Fox News just covered from beginning to end the Ron DeSanctimonious very boring news conference at the border, but didn't cover 1 minute of my two big speeches on Saturday and Sunday night, one for faith and freedom in D.C. and the other about trade in Michigan, where I was presented with the Man of the Decade award. The DeSanctis speech was just rehash of all the things I did to have the safest and strongest border in U.S. history. Also, I'm up by him by 40 points, and also big on Biden. Why did they cover my speeches? Oh my God. How come they don't ever cover my stuff? What a fucking tool.